Before, people believed that we were created by a supernatural God or the fruit of evolution through Darwin, etc.
And what was their version?
And this explanation, which is the good one, is that we were created by an advanced civilization coming from another planet using DNA and genetic engineering. And that the Bible is a godless, atheist book explaining the creation and life of life on earth by these very advanced people named in the Bible the Elohim.
Okay. They told you that you were related to Jesus, didn't they?
Yes, they had 40 messengers throughout the history of humanity, and these messengers, like Jesus, like Moses, were partly half human, half Elohim.
Okay, and you are therefore Jesus'
brother.
Half-brother,
yes, yes.
I don't know whether your mother and father are alive, but what did they think of this when you broke the news to them that they hadn't conceived you in a normal way?
My mother was not surprised at all.
Your father was what I was more interested in, to be quite honest.
I had no father. I was raised only by my mother.
It's kind of a good explanation. Yes, yes. Your father was an alien. Thank you very much.
An extraterrestrial.
An extraterrestrial.
One of the Elohim. And thousands of people throughout the history of humanity went through the same thing.
Okay. You were in one of their spacecraft?
Yes.
And you've actually built a model of this?
Yes.
In
the UFO land, the world's largest museum about UFOs. And it's in Canada, close to Valcourt.
Okay, and we have a picture of people posing at...
Yes, in front of the big UFO, the biggest UFO of the world. The UFO is 7 meters diameter, and it's a precise replica of the UFO.
Who are the rather comely maidens that I see beside you there?
They are members of our organization. We have 55,000 members in 84 countries.
Okay. What is the message from the extraterrestrials? I mean... Do they tell us how to behave or how to live?
Yes, but mainly they explain that there is no God, no soul.
Yeah.
And that we are the fruit of a scientific creation. Yeah. And our religion is science. And that everything in the world can be explained through science. So they give us a new philosophy, if you like, which is very peaceful, against any kind of violence, and which help us to be in harmony with new technology.
Okay. But in terms of the way you behave, I mean, you have these nude gatherings, is that right?
No.
There's a picture which seems to suggest that.
We have camping where people are free to be nude or to have clothes. It's not an obligation.
Okay. Now, the embassy that you propose to build...
But nudity is bad for Catholic people.
Well, some, yes. Perhaps some have reservations.
But we are born nude. Nobody's born with clothes, you know?
Yeah. Okay, now the embassy that you propose to build in Jerusalem.
Yes.
Why Jerusalem?
Because at first the creation of life in the laboratories was created close to Jerusalem, the Garden of Eden, it's called in the Bible. That's where the scientists worked and created life on Earth.
Okay, and you want to build your embassy there. It's going to cost $30 million, is that right?
It can cost around $30 million.
And how much have you got so far?
We have a third of it. We have $10 million.
$10 million.
Yes.
And you want sort of free airspace over...
the embassy has to be a real embassy with a demilitarized airspace, yes, of 1 kilometer of diameter.
But why would they need demilitarization if they're so advanced? I mean, any missiles used by the Israelis or the Palestinians would be as nothing to...
They love us and they don't want to hurt us. Okay. They can, like that, destroy all the earth, but they love us.
Yeah. How many members do you have
in Ireland?
55,000
members in the world, and around 500 members in Ireland.
Okay. How are you financed?
By the membership fees of the members.
What do they pay?
They pay what they want. Everybody is free to pay whatever they want.
There's no tithe of everything they earn or anything like that?
They vote at the beginning and they decided 3% of their income for the national movement, yes.
Okay. Now, all of this might just denote you as some kind of fruitcake. And I don't mean to be offensive, but listening to the titters of the audience, I suspect they're writing you off, say, this guy's crackers. Rael is not really with it. He's... that's what they're thinking, right? And that's all very well. You can go about recruiting your members and so on. But now you're talking about cloning human life.
Yes.
Now, that's a much more serious thing, because governments are opposed to you.
Not all.
Who's in favor of you doing this?
You have only 28 countries in the world with law against cloning, and you have 280 countries in the world.
But Ireland
just
hasn't got a law against it yet.
No.
But there's no doubt that they want to have a law against it. They just haven't got round to it yet. And
Yes.
I suspect the other...
That's why we have to go fast.
So you're going to race against the legal authorities to
Yes.
try. You have someone who's a real expert in this field. I mean, we're not talking about gifted amateurs having a go at this. You have someone who's a respected scientist to do
Yes,
this.
many, not only one. But before all, you saying fruit cake,
Yeah.
which is not very respectful. If you invite here a bishop,
Yeah.
or the
No,
Dalai
I'm saying
Lama, you will not
based on-
say that.
No, but based on what you were saying there, the audience were tittering. And
But,
I could tell they were making that
people
decision
can
about you.
be polite and well educated or not, and you can be respectful of different idea and philosophy or not. If you listen carefully to what is saying a Catholic priest, he says that every Sunday he changed a little piece of bread in the body of Jesus. People can laugh of that also. And you can also have the Dalai Lama saying that he is a reincarnation of 21 Buddha. People can laugh of that. Or they can be respectful and listen and say, different philosophy deserve respect.
I mean, you're making the point
Yes.
that the theories of some religions are as outlandish as what you're saying. Well,
More.
there or thereabouts.
More.
So-
We say that only life was created scientifically. And we only believe in science and nothing irrational, nothing supernatural. These people believe in supernatural things.
Okay, why do you want to clone people when the standard way of manufacturing people seems to be quite satisfactory as it is?
Well, first of all, because some people cannot have children by what you call the normal way.
Yeah.
And these people want to have a child. They went through IVF, and it didn't work. And we have a waiting list of 3,000 customers hoping to have a child through cloning.
Wasn't there one particular couple who lost a child?
Yes.
And they paid you, what, $500,000, was it?
Yes.
Did that cloning go ahead, that experiment? Because that's all it is at the moment. It's at
Yes.
a very experimental stage.
Yes, the first experiment we had the laboratory in the United States.
Yeah.
It was closed by the very strong pressure of the Food and Drug Administration, which illegally taped the telephone of the leader, the scientist which leads the program.
Yeah.
And we are suing the Food and Drug Administration because they did not have the right to tap
Okay,
the telephone.
but whether, I mean, two wrongs don't make a right. I absolutely concede that. But at the same time, there is clearly in the American administration a desire not to have this happen scientifically.
Yes, but they must respect the law. And, 22 years ago, the first, what was called at this time, the test tube baby, Louis Brown, was born. And instantly, the U.S. Congress and many countries in the world passed a law against IVF, test tube babies. Then the family went to the U.S. Supreme Court, and they won. And the judges of the Supreme Court say it is a freedom of every family to have a child the way they want. And we are in contact with the best legal expert of the best university in America. They all say, if the American government try to stop you and you go to the Supreme Court, 100% you will win.
I think there is a difficulty here, and that is, at the moment, I mean, we've heard from the people who created Dolly the sheep. Dolly is arthritic. She seems
I am too.
Okay, but Dolly is a lot younger than you, with all due respect.
I'm not sure of that.
She is. No, Dolly, well, we don't know, but they suggest that her cells are aging at a premature rate.
That's not true.
Well, I can read you something else which you've probably come across. The South Australian Research and Development Institute, which produced Matilda, Australia's first cloned sheep, they reported recently that 9 of the 10 cloned lambs were inexplicably dying. Okay? To get Dolly, there were 343...
279.
Well, the figure I got today was 340, whatever. But it's a massive number of miscarriages.
Yes.
And it's all very well. If I produce a 3-eyed sheep or a 5-legged donkey, we can dispose of such creatures. But if you produce a child with